Welcome to CLC Online. My name is David Pennington, and I am looking forward to being on tonight with you guys. Let me know, first of all, if you can hear me, you can see me okay. I'm just checking some things. I'm just making sure that it is all working, because we do have some fun things happening with this sometimes. So I just wanted to double check, make sure it's working. So if you can just let me know in the comments if you can hear me okay, and then we can get started. Looking forward to being on. Do put in the chat if you're watching for the first time. It would be great to hear from you. I'm just currently bear with me a sec. I am just about to put in the chat. There you go. That is the Zoom link for tonight. So do join us straight after here. We love to just to gather together and just talk, have some fun. No agenda in terms of, you don't have to know anything, basically. You know, there's no rules, there's no structure in terms of like, you have to do this, you have to do that. No, it's just common, we just chat together. It's just building relationships. Some people who are watching, maybe you don't get out of church or you don't get to get out. So this is that time where we come and chat together. We just share what we've been reading, really. I'm going through the book of John at the moment. Carl did an amazing job last week. And so we're still on chapter 18. I'm going to start from verse 25 of John chapter 18. And we're going to see how far we can go. And then we'll just meet together on the Zoom straight after this. So, like I said, put in the chat if you're watching for the first time, or if you're not watching for the first time, just put in the chat anyway. We would love to know who's on or where you're from. And so, yeah, if anything this sticks out to you, if anything pops out, maybe you've been reading along with us, put in the chat that, you know, any questions, anything that's been sticking out to you, I'd love to hear. Let's have a look and see who's on. I've got a number of devices going, so I'm not going to miss anybody. Got YouTube, we got Facebook on. Carl Wayne's on, and he's on YouTube and Facebook for me. What a legend. My mother is on. Good evening, mother. Jenny, great to see you on, Jenny. She can see me, she can hear me, so I'm not rambling on. That's good. Well, I am rambling on, but at least you can hear me and see me. So, Now, this is fun. Oh, I do love the technology. There we go. I can see the chat now. So yeah, we've been going through the book of John for a while. I think we started a year and a half ago, and I can't believe it's took us this long to get to chapter 18. Like I said last week, Carl did an amazing job of just leading us through. Hi Tracy, you can see Tracy's on. He did an amazing job, and tonight I'm just going to carry on from where you left off, verses 25 onwards, where Peter denies Jesus again. I've just realised I've left the music on in the background in the building because I've been painting today. I've just been doing some stuff, and I always have music on. So if that's too loud, if it's distracting, let me know. I can just quickly reach over to the sound desk and turn it down. So if it is an interruption, let me know. Anyway, where are we up to? So basically, Peter's denied Jesus once. And so we're up to verse 25, where it's now Simon Peter was standing and warning himself. So they said, warming himself, not warning himself, warming himself. So they said to him, You also are not one of his disciples, are you? He denied it and said, I am not. One of the servants of the high priest, a relative of the man whose ear he cut off, she was like, oh man, you're the guy. Right? She said, like, did I not see you in the garden with him? Peter again denied it, and at once the rooster crowed. Interesting to know. Actually, the first thing that kind of stuck out to me, and that's where we're going to start, and then we'll carry on. When we read the story of when the Romans turned up to pick up Jesus, I found it very interesting that there was people that were with them, like the servants of the high priest, and a relative, just a random relative, just hanging around as well. Let's go and find out who they're going to arrest. And there's this random relative of the high priest's servant, and he or she's tagging along as well. It's just, I thought that was quite funny, fascinating, really. But there's nothing to do with what we're chatting. But I do love the little details that I put in. So basically, these guys, right, are gathered by the fire, and straight away they're like, "You're not one of them disciples, too, are you?" Sadly, Peter denies Jesus for the second time, and John's gospel purposely intertwines Peter's 3 denials of Jesus with the religious leaders' interrogations. Peter fearful lies to people who have little power to harm him, while his Lord Jesus speaks the truth to those who soon to be executing him. I just thought that was quite interesting to see, really, that, Peter's around the people that are really not that important, so he can pretty much lie. But yet Jesus is around some very important people, and he tells the truth. And Peter gets away, and Jesus ends up being crucified. A man present at Jesus' arrest, a relative of the high priest, like we mentioned, recognizes Peter's face. Didn't I see you with him in the garden? And Peter realizes, oh man, I've been caught out here. And he's known because of his assault, to the high priest. Not anything else he's ever done. He's known by the assault of cutting someone's ear. But the thing is, what blows my mind with that, they didn't ask the question, wait a minute, he's just had his ear cut off, then he got it put back on. But yet no one actually questions that, but they question the fact that he might have been with him. I just find that very interesting. But the thing with John, you can't read John unless you read Matthew as well, really, which Matthew 26:72 records how Peter begins to curse and swear as part of this third denial. This probably doesn't mean that Peter uses what we would call foul language, but, we could have. But to curse in the Bible means also to pronounce a curse on another, or to swear means to put yourself under oath. Like, I swear I didn't do it. But, it could have been effing and jeffing as well. You never know. It was Peter. He was a bit of a hothead, wasn't he? So then the rooster begins to crow, and then less than 12 hours have passed since Jesus warned Peter, will you really lay down your life for me? And very truly, I tell you, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. So since the rooster typically were not kept in the holy city, some believe Jesus was speaking of a Roman military trumpet call, which means cock crow, meaning that the changing of the guard was at 3 a.m. Whether Jesus spoke of an actual rooster, or maybe it was the call of the trumpet call, it doesn't really matter. It still prophesied it, and Peter denied it 3 times, which fulfilled that prophecy. Lynn Stubbs is on. Great to see you, Lynn. So John then deals with Peter's remorse and repentance in chapter 21, which we'll get to later on. But the focus remains absolutely on Jesus. Jesus' look reminds Peter of Jesus' warning that Satan would sift him like wheat. Satan meant this for harm, but God is always in complete control and obviously turned it into good. At the sound, Peter suddenly saw that when the cock crows, or whatever sound it was, the cock crows, and Peter suddenly remembers Jesus' warning. And he is full of humiliation, he is gutted. He's upset that it's come true. Luke 22:61 tells us that about this time Jesus is led out of Annas in Catheus. Jesus turns and looks at Peter in the courtyard. The word translated as looked is not a look of condemnation, because Jesus is good. Right? He's not. He wouldn't have given that one of luxury. You've done something wrong, and your parents just look at you and you go, really? But it's a kind of a look of one who knows Peter's deepest heart and loves him. So you can just imagine, it's almost like a sorrow look that Jesus is just giving Peter. John recalls Jesus' look of love when he later writes to the early church, God is greater than our hearts, and he knows everything. So basically what they're saying is Jesus knew what he was feeling and actually felt sorry for Peter at that time. Peter was not in tune with his Lord, though, and he still did not grasp Jesus' purpose. Peter struck out in violence in the garden and shrunk back into the lies in the courtyard. Peter boasted that he would never deny Jesus as his Lord, but quite clearly we see he completely did, and he kind of fell to pieces. And apart from the Holy Spirit's help, we fail to understand God's purpose in each situation. Sometimes we kind of have a Israelite moment, God shows up and loves us and does things and surprises us and blesses us, but yet how many times have we just gone backtracked and forgot all the good that he has done in our lives? So we kind of miss the ball as well sometimes. And even though we say, I've often said it, how on earth did the Israelites not see what God was doing? Hello, Kirsty. My wife is on. So I often wonder how the Israelites didn't. And it's complacency. They just got used to God being around, which is the reason why they fell so many times. But in John, only in John, do we get the full report of Pilate's private examinations of Jesus. I often wonder how he got this, but I wonder maybe if Jesus had spoken to John afterwards, and that's why he was like, yeah, I had this encounter and I want you to write this down. You need to write this down when Jesus came back from the dead. And so John, the beloved apostle, had no concerns about following Jesus into the Gentiles' judgment hall during Passover. The first trial before Pilate, it had 3 stages. So again, maybe John was there as well. But Luke also records Pilate sending Jesus to Herod, who was in Jerusalem at the time, for yet another hearing. As in the religious trials, the rulers, Pilate and Herod, did not try Jesus so much as God tries them. Jesus' power tears away any camouflage of piety or self-righteousness and pride to expose our real state when we stand before him. At this time in history, Roman governors ruled over Israel and installed like a cooperative men, like these dudes who ran these areas in kind of religious offices to help control the citizens and maintain peace. Rome's governors usually stayed in Caesarea instead of Jewish religious centers. Jerusalem, perhaps Pilate chose to come to Jerusalem during the festivals because political unrest had potential to escalate around Passover, and that's probably why Pilate was there. Pilate accommodates the Jewish religious leaders as much as possible for political gain. So he was doing it. He was like, I just want to keep these guys quiet before uproar. So when they bring Jesus to him, Pilate honors their religious reservations. So, for example, right, though the hour was early, Pilate goes outside rather than demand they enter his unclean Gentile residence. The leaders, the religious charge of blasphemy, that was the charge, the religious charge of blasphemy was worthy of death in them times under the laws. However, stoning was quite a method that the Jews would do, but it was actually it was illegal in Roman law. So the Romans preferred the method of crucifixion. And at times the Jewish leaders did stone people, which we hear in many stories before, of threats. And there's one where there's a lady, she almost gets stoned, doesn't she? And at times the Jewish leaders did stone people, and sometimes the Roman government would let it pass. But Luke records the Jewish leaders accusing Jesus of 3 crimes under Roman law: subversion, opposing tax payments to Caesar, and claiming to be king. So he's questioned by Pilate. Jesus is questioned by Pilate about these charges, and the leaders answer defensively. Pilate seems eager to avoid all responsibility and involvement. He really doesn't really want to deal with this. And he tells them, to judge this criminal according to their own law. So Pilate's reply forces the leaders to reveal their true motive. They answer, but we have no right to execute anyone. So Jesus' enemies want him publicly murdered, proving they despise truth, justice, and mercy. This unusual cooperation of religious and government leaders, each of them trying to serve their own motives, fulfills prophecy. Several times people are attempted to seize and kill Jesus during his earthly ministry. However, God had ordained that not so much the attempts at all, but that it would succeed. But Jesus foretold his own death, and it would be a crucifixion. which was pretty much what he did on the cross. I've just noticed we're cracking on to the time. It's 22 minutes past. So I've kind of got up to. I actually thought I wouldn't get through all that, but I did kind of read it quite quick, and I noticed that sometimes we kind of we don't say enough, but I kind of wanted to get through that because I felt it was quite important that next time we go on verse 33, my kingdom is not of this world, and it's quite an important thing Jesus is talking about there. So it'd be nice just to focus on that next week. It's great to see you on, John. I hope you're well. I don't know if anyone had any questions of that, if that make any sense, or if that was a ramble. But do let me know in the chat. I'd love to answer any questions or pray for people. But yeah, I just find it quite fascinating, that little bit. It's just anything that stood out to anybody, then just put in the chat. So I'm trying to think, was there anything else I missed? No, I think there's quite a lot there. I thought I shared quite a lot compared to how much was there. But yeah, that's it really for today, I guess. Do join us on the Zoom. I will put the link on there if you've missed it. There you go. It'd be great just to connect with you. Just a relaxed time. And if you can't get on, do message us if you need help getting on. And maybe you've been watching every week and you've been wanting to get on. But let me know. Anyway, join us on Sunday. We're going to be doing, obviously, the live service. But on Sunday evening, we've got live prayer as well, which I will be streaming on CLC Online. And I will be on the prayer with that. So do join us, whether in person or online. Have a great week. We will carry on from verse 33 of John 18 next week. And have a blessed week. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you, online pastors, for being on. And we'll see you on the other side in a couple of minutes, I guess. Thank you.